Pero bago tayo magpatuloy ay pakilike ang ating video. Ganon din ang subscribe button, pati na rin ang bell icon para lagi kayong updated sa mga parating ko pang mga uploads.
Mahal ko ang anak natin but I can't lose you. Nanigas si Ava sa sinabi ni Drake. Kapag Juan kumalasi sa pagkakayakap sa asawa, she could see frustration and conclusion in his face. Dr. Estanislao told me everything. Why did you lie to me? Napayo ko si Ava. How can I say it? Yeah, how can you say it to a monster like me? He shook his head and then he held her hands. Hindi ko alam kung anong gagawin. Now, it was her turn to shake her head. You don't have to do anything. He kissed her hands. I don't want to let you go. I can't. Tears were starting to fall from his eyes again. Bahagyang tumigas ang anyo ni Ava. I am not letting go of our child either. Halos matanggal ang kanyang ulo sa pag-iling. Pinagdikit ni Drake ang mga noo nila. I know baby, and I love you more for that. I love you both. You and our child are the most beautiful things that ever happened to me. They did not let go of each other's hand. She just couldn't say it, but she couldn't let go of him too. She felt like screaming. Life was unfair. Pwede na sila ni Drake ngayon dahil mahal na rin siya ng asawa. Ngunit hindi magagawa ni Ava na isakripisyo ang buhay ng sariling anak para lamang sa pansariling kaligayahan. Sana tumigil ang oras sa pagtakbo. Hawak ni Ava ang kamay ni Drake ng mahigpit na tila ba makakaya niyang pigilan ng oras. Mahal na mahal kita. Hindi ko alam kung paano nangyari pero hawak mo na ngayon ang buhay ko. Iniangat ni Drake ang kanyang kamay. Hawak na ng mga kamay na ito ang buong pagkatao ko. Si Ava na ang kusang yumakap sa asawa. Nahiling niyang sana may paraan pa, kung sana lang. Ava was at the veranda, enjoying the evening air. She couldn't think straight. Mabuti na lang at tila balsamong humahaplos sa bawat himaymay ng kanyang kaluluwa ang malamig na hanging panggabi. Nevertheless, uncertainty filled her heart. Hindi tamang pinakita niya kay Drake kung gaano niya ito kamahal. 5 buwan na ang nasa sinapupunan ni Ava. Ibig sabihin 4 na buwan na lamang ilalagay niya sa piling ni Drake, and showing him her love would be selfishness on her part. Iiwan din niyang asawa. Ang dapat na gawin ni Ava, sanayin si Drake na wala siya. It was the painful truth. She would die in 4 months. Time, and they couldn't do anything about it. It was better for them to get used to that fact now. She had to. Maya-maya, may umakap sa mga braso niya mula sa likuran. Wala nang may iyayakap sa kanya, kundi si Drake. He buried his face against her shoulder and inhaled her scent. She closed her eyes. How could she think of ways to be apart from him if he was this close? Promise me, we will never give up, ani Drake. Nagsimula na namang manikip ang dibdib ni Ava. She closed her eyes and savored the moment. This moment would stay in her mind and in her heart forever. Napadilit si Ava nang bumitiw sa kanya si Drake nang marahan siyang ipihit paharap nito. She tried to look away but he cupped her face and captured her gaze. She was drowning in his eyes. Walang ibang masasalamin sa mga mata ni Drake kundi sensibilidad at determinasyon. Promise me we won't give up. We won't let fate overcome us. We will fight for our love no matter what. Mabubuhay kayo ng anak natin. That I promise you. Drake, I'm gonna die. No, don't say that. I will be dumb if I'm going to let you die without doing anything. You will leave and don't you ever say that you're gonna die. Tumigas ng bahagya ang anyo ni Drake at muling napuno ng determinasyon. Drake! Muling dumaloy ang kanyang mga luha. We are going to talk to Dr. Estanislao tomorrow. We will take whatever chances we've got. Gaano man kaliit yon. If she turns us down, then we're going to ask for a second opinion. We can have the best doctors in the country or even abroad. He was crying now. Higit pa marahil sa ginawa niyang pag-iyak. She believed him. She had all the reasons in the world to give up, but his eyes told her a different story. His eyes gave her so much hope. Kung hindi lang sana sinabi ni Drake na mahal siya nito, hindi sana maging komplikadong lahat. She would die peacefully and contentedly. Pero ngayong alam na ni Ava na mahal siya ng asawa, ay hindi niya maiwasang umasa. She wanted to live. She did not want to leave him and their child. She wanted to be with them. Just like what he told her, they would take whatever chances they've got. I love you, Drake, and I will fight for our family no matter what. Hindi ko kayo iiwan ng anak natin. Nakangiti si Ava kahit tuloy-tuloy na ang pagtulo ng kanyang mga luha. He brought her close to his chest. I love you too, and I'm not letting go of you. Hope springs eternal. Now she believed in that. Hindi din posible dating mahalin si Drake kung nagkatotoo iyon. Noon walang dahilan para lumaban si Ava, but it was a different story now. Magkasama nilang lalabanan at haharapin ang lahat. Mahigpit na magkahugpong ang mga kamay ni Ava at Drake. Papunta sila sa klinik ni Dr. Stanislaw. Drake kissed his wife's hand and held it tight. Ayaw niyang bitawan yon kahit saglit. He had been such a jerk, but that was before. He would do everything within his power to save her. Last night surpassed everything. Wala pa siyang taong pinagkaanan ng ganun. Kay Ava pa lang siya nangako. He was willing to give up everything for her and their child. Ilang saglit pa, huminto na sila sa tapat ng ospital kung saan naroon ang klinik ni Dr. Stanislaw. Ilang saglit pa'y nasa loob sila ng klinik. He inhaled deeply. This is it. He gave his wife a reassuring look. Please have a seat, Mr. and Mrs. Sullivan, ani Dr. Stanislaw. Umupo sila sa visitor's chair pagkatapos makipagkamay sa doktora. They were still holding each other's hands tightly. So, what is your decision? Tanong ng doktora. We're keeping the baby. Mabilis ang sagot ni Drake. As I have said before, the pregnancy would be too risky, Ava. You might die of complications. Your heart might not take it. Huminga ng malalim ang doktora. Are you sure you want this? Inunahan sa ni Ava sa pagsagot. Yes, we're willing to take even the slightest chance, please. Dr. Stanislaw, help us. Marahang tumango ang doktor. To tell you honestly, the chances of survival are very low. Only a miracle can change these things as it is. Please, Dr. Stanislaw, I will give everything. I'm willing to pay twice. No, twice as much. Take all my money if you want. Just save my wife and my child. Pinokpok ni Drake ang desk ng doktora. Drake! Hinawakan ni Ava ang kanyang kamay upang payapain siya. Nang tingnan niya ito'y mabilis sumupa ang galit niya. I will help you. I will try my best. Wika ni Dr. Stanislaw. I'll check up on you again. Maaring maliit lamang ang chances pero sigurado, pangahawakan pa rin ninyo noon gaano pa man kaliit yon. Might as well hold on to whatever hope you've got. Your problem is not congenital heart disease, but congestive heart failure. Ani Dr. Stanislaw. What does that mean? Tanong ni Ava habang mawibig na nakahawak sa braso ni Drake. Kung congenital ang case mo, we need further tests done on you. We need to determine on what stage your sickness is in. Malamang na wala na talagang pag-asa, but I can see some hope if you got congestive heart failure. Agad ang pagbaha ng tuwa sa dibdib ni Ava. Maging si Drake nagliwanag sa labis sa katuwaan. Is there any medication I could take to cure this? Tanong ni Drake. Any medication you take during pregnancy can affect your baby. Her heart sank. So, we can't do anything about it? Mabining ngumiti ang doktora. However, I can suggest a medication with low dosage. I can't promise you that this would heal you completely, but at least this can help. What do you mean? Tanong ni Drake. It's a good thing that you haven't had any attacks yet. We've got to be careful about this. Or should I say, you've got to take good care of your wife, Mr. Sullivan. I will give you pointers on how to avoid attacks. She paused for a while. Our chances of success are improving. Marami kang dapat iwasan mga bagay, Ava. Kung hindi ka rin magkakaroon ng mild attack hanggang sa bago ka manganak, maaring makaligtas kayo ng anak mo. But then again, I'm not giving you 100% reassurance. We will take whatever chances we've got. Punong-puno ng pag-asa ang tinig at mukha ni Drake. He kissed her hand and smiled at her. She smiled back at him. Marami pang sinabi ang doktora. May payo tungkol sa kalagayan niya. Drake was so serious about it, he even took down notes. There might still be a chance for them. Her heart was filled with hope at the thought. Another 2 months passed and Ava was now 7 months pregnant with her baby. So far, everything was going according to plan. Napagpasya nila ni Drake na wag nang maipaalam kahit kaninong kanyang kalagayan. Maging sa mga magulang nila, itinago rin nila ang totoo. Malaki ang naitulong ng mga payo ni Dr. Stanislaw. Tuloy-tuloy ang pag-inom ni Ava ng mga medication at vitamins. Regular din ang pagbisita nila sa doktora. Hindi na siya nagpapa-ultrasound upang alamin ang gender ng kanyang anak. They wanted it to be surprise. Drake went home early every day. He took good care of her. He was everything she could ask for. Madalas nasabay ang asawa at inaalagaan siya. He treated her like a princess and he was her prince. There were times when she couldn't avoid thinking about that. Despite everything they did, the fact still remained that she could die in 2 months' time. The hands of time were moving faster. Ayaw ni Ava na lubusang umasa, ngunit kabaliktaran ang nangyayari kapag nakatitig siya sa mga mata ni Drake. She could actually hope for a better future with him around. His eyes gave her the promise of a better tomorrow and a bright future with him. She wanted to spend every day with him beside her. One day, they went to the beach. It was a private beach resort in San Marcelino, which was owned by Drake's parents. He brought her there one afternoon. Alas 5 na ng hapon kaya hindi na mainit ang sikat ng araw. She lay on the blanket on the sand while her husband flew a kite. She did not know that flying a kite on the beach was even possible until now. Lumingon si Drake sa kanya at kinawayan siya. She could see him smiling from a distance. She waved back at him. "Come here, baby. I will teach you how to fly a kite." He shouted so she could hear him. Umiling si Ava. "Ikaw na lang. Manonood na lamang ako." She shouted back at him. "I love you, baby." She giggled involuntarily. "I love you too." She could never be happier. Ilang saglit pa'y nakita niyang tumatakbo papalapit sa kanya si Drake. Nang makalapit o kinintilan siya ng asawa ng halik sa mga labi. "I'm hungry, babe. Let's eat." Yaya ni Drake sa kanya. "Okay, iyahanda." "No, babe. I will be the one to prepare our meal." Putol ito sa kanya sabay kindat. He earnestly prepared their food. Nilabas si Drake ang lahat ng laman ng picnic basket at mabilis ang inihain. Napapalakpak si Ava sa dami ng mga pagkain. Everything looked yummy. Most of it were fruits and vegetables. "Babe, tataba ako nito." Kunwari reklamo pa ni Ava. He laughed merrily. "Don't worry, babe. I'd still love you kahit maging kasinlapad ka pa na refrigerator." "Whoo! Bola!" Ang lakas ng tawa ni Drake. "I'm telling you the truth, baby." Dumukwang ito at hinilot ang kanyang noo upang alisin ang gatla roon. Napangiti si Althea. Nang akmang magsasalita ito'y dumampot siya ng cat-cat. Wala nang balat iyon kaya't sinalpak niya iyon ng buo sa bibig ng asawa. Now it was her turn to laugh. She immediately gathered some grapes and put them all inside his mouth so he could not speak. In turn, he picked up the bowl of fruit salad and got a spoonful of it and did the same thing to her. Walang nagawa si Ava kundi ngayain ang isinubo ng asawa. Hindi pa man niya halos nalulunok iyon, muli na naman siyang sinubuan ni Drake. Siguro sambako lang kanyang mukha dahil pagkalakas-lakas ang tawa ng asawa. Muli siyang dumampot ng ubas at sinubo yon kay Drake. He did the same thing to her while laughing. Gustong mainis ni Ava at gumanti ulit ngunit natawa na lamang siya. He reached for her and kissed her. Hindi niya nagawang tumugon dahil bigla siyang na-outbalance. They fell to the ground sideways. Nanatili lamang sila nakahiga at nakatagilid, looking into each other's eyes. He traced the contours of her face. "I wish we could stay like this forever." She held his face, her throat constricted with sudden emotion. Hindi naman pwedeng nandito lang tayo habang buhay. Paano kayo kung umulan? She tried to crack a joke. He smiled. "We will be together forever, Ava Vasquez. That I promise you." He kissed her hands. Right then and there, she felt like bursting into tears. She wanted to believe that they could be together forever. "Mahal kita, Drake Sullivan. Whatever happens, I will always love you." Bumangon si Drake at tumayo. Nilahad nito ang kamay sa harap ni Ava. She reached for it and as soon as was on her feet, he hugged her. "Walang mangyayari sa'yo, Ava. Walang mangyayari sa inyo ng anak natin." She wished that time would stand still. His arms promised her safe haven. The warmth he gave brought her the highest comfort she could ever wish for. Ava was busy preparing dinner. Isang oras na lamang at darating ng mga magulang nila ni Drake. She invited them over for dinner. Hindi alam ni Drake ang kanyang ginawa. She wanted to surprise him. Tiyak na mauunang dumating ang mama at papa ni Ava dahil sa karating bahay lamang nakatira ang mga magulang, hindi gaya ng mga magulang ni Drake. Isa pa, namimiss na rin naman niya ang kanyang mga magulang. Halos ilang buwan na rin di nakikita ni Ava ang mama at papa. She was almost 9 months pregnant with her baby. "Ma'am Ava, parang may malaking okasyon na." Pula ng isang kasambahay na katulong nila ni Yaya Andeng sa paghanda. "Oo nga, ma'am," segunda ng isa. Darating sina mama at papa, pati sina mommy at daddy. Maiksing paliwanag ni Ava habang inilalagay sa serving plate ang mga ulam. "Akala ko po kasi..." "Akala mo ano?" Curious sa tanong niya. "Akala ko po, anniversary ninyo ni sir." Tila nahihiyang sabi ng kasambahay. Kayo talaga. Umira na naman yung pagkachismosa ninyo." Sawata ni Yaya Andeng sa mga kasambahay. Napaisip ng malalim si Ava. Tama, anniversary nga nila ni Drake. Nakalimutan na rin niya yun dahil sa mga pangyayari nitong mga naraang buwan. Kung siya nakalimutan niya, malamang ganoon din si Drake. Bahagyang nalungkot si Ava sa isiping nun, ngunit agad binura niya iyon sa isip. Drake loved her and that was enough for her. Minadali nilang paghanda kaya naman bago mag-alas 7, natapos na nilang lahat ang preparasyon. Eksaktong kakatapos lang nila na makaramdam ng bahagyang pagkahilo, si Ava. Tila kinakapos dun siya ng hininga. She felt a sudden sense of terror. Mariin siyang napakapit sa upuan habang sapo ang kanyang dibdib. Ava? Agad dinilohan siya ni Yaya Andeng. Umikot ang paningin ni Ava. The last thing she saw was Drake's arms coming around her before everything went blank. Ava's eyelids felt so heavy she couldn't open them immediately. She heard noises around her, familiar voices. Pinilit niyang imulat ng kanyang mga mata. Ang nag-aalalang mukha ni Drake ang una niyang nasilayan. He placed his fingers around hers. She could see tears in his eyes. Ang sumunod na nakita ni Ava ay ang nag-aalalang mukha ng mga magulang nila. She automatically touched her tummy. Then, her eyes went to Drake again. The baby is fine. Pagbibigay assurance si Drake na tinilabasa ang kanyang nasa isip. Nakahinga ng maluwag si Ava. Ava anak, bakit di niyo sinabi? Tanong ng kanyang mama. Her mother's face was full of worry. Halata rin galing sa iyak ang ina at ngayon, tila may iyak na naman. Tila pigil naman ang kanyang ama ang emosyon. Although she could see anger in his eyes. Pag-aalala at panlulumo naman ang mababakas sa mukha ng kanyang mga biyanan. Why didn't you tell us, son? Tanong ng father-in-law ni Ava. Hindi nakaimik si Drake. You should have told us earlier. We could have done something about it. Sabi ni Mommy Lucy. You almost had an attack a while ago. You shouldn't have worn yourself out. Anang mama ni Ava na napahagulgol ng tuluyan. We thought you'd been healed of that disease. Agad hinina ng kanyang papa ang kanyang mama. Sumobsob ang mama sa dibdib ng kanyang papa at doon na rin tuluyang napaluha ang papa. Did you do it on purpose, Ava? Matalim ang boses na tanong ng mommy ni Drake. She could see hurt in Drake's eyes and she was instantly hurt too. She could not afford to see him hurt, especially if he was not the only one to be blamed. It is my entire fault, she bravely said to everyone. I did not tell Drake about the risk involved in my pregnancy. Hindi ko rin kaagad yan nalaman. He isn't the one to be blamed. Nagdesisyon ako na hindi hiningi ang opinyon niya. Paliwanag ni Ava. At kahit panalaman niya o nino man, hindi pa rin magbabago ang desisyon ko. Bubuhayin ko pa rin ang bata at mas pipiliin ko pa rin ang buhay niya kaysa sarili kong buhay. Kahit ano pa man ang mangyari, mahal ko ang batang to. I would risk my own life for his life. Malalim na ang gabi, ngunit hindi pa rin makatulog si Ava. Total lang dati, pinapalipas silang gabi roon ng mga magulang nila. Hindi na nila muling pinag-usapan ang tungkol sa kanyang kalagayan. Naunawaan na rin marahil ng mga ito kung ano ang kanyang nararamdaman. Drake went downstairs to get her a glass of milk. She was sitting on the lazy boy na nakaharap sa veranda. Binuksan ni Ava ang glass panel upang matanaw ang kalangitan. The skies were full of stars, and starry nights were supposed to be a beautiful sight that could soothe a gloomy feeling, but they were of no use to her right now. She suddenly felt like she was crying. Pinapahid ni Ava yun ang maramdaman ng mga kamay ni Drake sa kanyang balikat. She pulled him closer to her. Bahaga siyang umisol at pinaupo ang asawa sa kanyang tabi. Pinasandig naman siya nito sa dibdib nito. I have a good idea, babe. Ani Drake kapag kuwan. What's it? Let's think of a name of our baby. She smiled. That's a good idea. Well, if it's a baby boy, I want to name it after you. He would be Drake Sullivan Jr. He laughed. Really? Okay then, if that's a girl, I will name it after you. I'm pretty sure she will be as beautiful as you are. I'm sure if he's a boy, he will be a lot like you, and surely will be more handsome than you. She giggled at the thought. Well, I can't argue with that, he grinned. And if she's a girl, she will probably well pampered by you, she added. Lalaking mabuti ang anak natin, natitiyak ko. I'm sure you will raise him well. Siguradong bubusagin mo siya sa pagmamahal. Mamahalin mo siya gaya ng pagmamahal mo sa akin. She could feel him trembling. May naramdaman si Ava na pumatak sa kanyang kamay. She looked up to him and saw he was crying, even as he smiled. You will always be around. We will nurture him together. We will see him grow up. We will take care of him together. She was crying now. Makikita natin siyang lumaki and someday, he will also meet someone who would love him as well. Maraing hinagka ni Drake ang kanang kamay. Oh yeah, someone like you. And someone like you too. Dugtong ni Ava. He kissed her forehead. Happy anniversary, baby. Maang na napatingin siya sa asawa. You remember? Yes. May dinuko to sa bulsa. It was a platinum ring. She was stunned. Simple lamang inatatatampo na isang brilyantos sa gitna. She felt in love with it instantly. Hinugot ni Drake ang gold ring sa kanyang daliri at baliwalang inihagis iyong saan. Ipinalit ito roon ang hawak na singsing. I have mine too. Iniangat ni Drake ang kaliwang kamay upang ipakita sa kanya ang kaparehang singsing. It's beautiful, sambit ni Ava. I'm glad you like it. That other ring isn't ours. I did not choose it, nor did you. This ring, on the other hand, I give it to you as a sign of my undying love. Happy 4th anniversary, Drake. He kissed her softly on the lips. It was full of emotion and love he had for her. We will grow old together. We will celebrate our 5th anniversary, 10th, 25th, 50th. We will see our child grow up, marry and have kids. He will give us lots of grandchildren. Yes, natatawang sang-ayon ni Ava. They were crying and laughing at the same time, kissing and hugging and listening to each other's heartbeat. Her heart swelled with love for this man. Her heart ached for him all the more. Hindi akalain ni Ava na darating ang ganong sandali. Whatever happens, even if my heart stops beating, it will not stop from loving you. Nakahiga sa stretcher si Ava na itinutulak ng mga nurse. Drake held her hand ever so tightly. She did not want to let go of his hand. Malakas si Ava kapag hawak niya iyon. Drake, do not let go of my hand. Nahihirapang pakiusap niya sa asawa. I won't, baby. I won't. She saw fear and worry in his eyes. This was the moment of truth. There were only two options. She would either make it out alive or not. She wasn't ready to leave Drake yet. I love you, Drake. I love you too, he frantically said. Pagbukas ng operating room, agad na hinarang si Drake ng isang nurse. Sorry sir, pero hanggang dito na lang po kayo. Hindi po kayo pwede sa loob. Nakita ni Ava ang panulumo sa mukha ng asawa. Hanggang sa unti-unting sumara ang pinto ng OR. She was going to have her baby by a cesarean section because of her heart condition. Maya-maya pa'y unti-unti nang bumigat ang talukap ng kanyang mga mata hanggang sa tuloy nang mapapikit. Drake's image was very clear in her mind. She could imagine his handsome face smiling at her. It gave her more than enough courage to survive this before she finally succumbed to a deep sleep. Drake used all his might to stop himself from crying. He had to be strong for Ava and her baby. He did not pray often or call to God. Actually, he really did not pray at all. But at that very moment, he couldn't really rely on anything or anyone but God. He felt someone touching his back. It was his mother. Kasama nitong kanyang ama at ang kanyang in-laws. Hindi niya na nakayanan pa na daramang emosyon. Tila batang umiyak si Drake sa mga bisig ng ina. Mommy, I can't live without her. I love her so much. Napahagulgol na si Drake sa sobrang takot at lungkot na nadarama. I won't be able to forgive myself if something happens to her. Hindi ako mabubuhay nang wala siya. Shh! Nothing will happen to Ava. She will be safe. Sila ng anak ninyo. They patiently and worriedly waited outside the OR. Pagkalipas ng ilang oras, sabay-sabay na napatayo sila nang lumabas doon si Dr. Estanislao. Si Drake ang unang lumapit sa doktora. He swallowed the lump in his throat before he asked her about his wife and child. Dr. Estanislao's answer almost made him faint. 6 months later, Drake walked slowly, as if he were walking on the clouds. He carried 2 bouquets of white roses. He was at the Ruby Memorial Park. Nasa bayan ng San Felipe, na ilang bayan ng pagitan sa Castillo. He had traveled all the way from Castillo to visit the graves of his loved ones. He felt a sudden sense of sadness as he got closer to the graves. Nang marating ang mga iyon, saglit at tititigan ni Drake ang 2 puntod. Kapag kwan, nilapag sa ibabaw ng mga bouquet ng bulaklak na kanyang dala. Nag-alay muna siya ng munting panalangin bago sumalampak ng upo sa damuhan. Napansin ni Drake na marami ng damong tumubo sa kaliwang puntod, kaya isa-isa niyang binunot ang mga iyon. When he was finished, he smiled and realized that he had done for the first time. You know what? I should have been angry with the both of you, but I just can't, lalo na sa'yo. Eve faced the grave on the left. You see? Nagbubunot na ako ng damo ngayon. Tiyak na kung buhay ka lang pagtatawanan mo ko. I know this is so unlike me. He laughed softly. This is all your fault, but I want to thank you just the same. When you died, a part of me died too. I loved you then, but now I'm finally setting you free. Huminga ng malalim si Drake. Nagbago ko mula nang mawala ka. Naging mas mabuting tao na ako ngayon. I've learned so many things. I've learned how to listen. I've learned how to care. I've learned how to worry and how to be sad. How to exist, and most of all, I've learned how to truly love with all that I have. Ngumiti siya. Thank you for being part of my life. At huwag kayong mag-alala. Napatawad ko na kayong dalawa. He smiled again. Goodbye to the both of you. May mabining hanging humaplos sa kanyang mukha bago siya tuluyan tumalikod sa mga punto din na Savannah at uncle niya. Muli, napangiti si Drake habang naglalakad palabas sa sementeryo. Umihip ang malamig na hangin na tila nagbabadya ng kaginhawaan. Tumingala sa kalangitan si Drake. The sky was so clear and blue. He had never seen the sky look as good as it is. Maluwag na ang kanyang pakiramdam na sa ginawang pagpapatawad sa dating kasintahan at tiyuhin. There was only one reason for that. Everything he had and everything he was, right now, he owed it to one person, the one who taught him everything about the world love. Finally, he could go on with his life. He could now be fully happy for the rest of his life. Binilisan na niyang paglakad. Drake! Dagling hinaya ng tingin ang tumawag sa kanya. He smiled broadly. Tinakbo na niya ang ilang nalalamig distansya sa pagitan nila. Ava was smiling sweetly at him. Yes, she was alive, and so was their baby. Nalagpasan namang ito ang panganib nung nanganak ang asawa. Totoong nagmimilagro ang Diyos. Kung may salita lamang na hihigit pa sa love, yun ang marahil na nararamdaman niya para kay Ava. Eksaktong pagtapat niya sa asawa, agad sinaklit nito sa bewang at inangat sa lupa. He wanted to hug her all the time. He wanted to be sure that this was not just part of a beautiful dream. He wanted to feel her to know that she was real, that she was really with him. Tumili si Ava. Drake, ano ka ba? Ibaba mo ako, nakakahiya. Baka may makakita sa atin. So what? They should be envious because I'm with the most beautiful woman in the world. Drake? She giggled. She eventually stopped complaining. Instead, she buried her face in his neck. I love you, Drake, she whispered. He grinned and shouted his answer. I love you, Ava Sullivan. I love you so much. He slowly released her and searched her face as if he was memorizing every inch of it. Then, he slowly kissed her as a kiss that promised a happy life with him. They kissed passionately and thoroughly as if there was no tomorrow. He slowly ended the kiss and looked straight into her eyes. I love you. You are God sent to me. I will never ever let you go. And I promise to protect you. You and our son are the most beautiful things that ever happened to me. May emosyong pahayag ni Gabriel. She tiptoed and kissed him. Speaking of our son, I'm sure he's enjoying his grandfather and grandmother's company. Tumango si Jake bilang pagsang-ayon. Kapag kwan, inakba niya si Ava at inakay papunta ng sasakyan. Nakasandig ang ulo ng asawa sa kanyang dibdib habang naglalakad sila. Pagkarating sa kotse nila, hinawakan ni Jake ang mga kamay ng asawa. I will give you everything you wished for. I am not a god or a genie, but I will give you what you want as long as it's within my power. Ani Jake. Really? Yes. Do you have any wishes? She stared at him with a dreamy look in her eyes. Baby, what's your wish? He asked her again. Are you happy? She asked in return. I've never been happier in my life. She smiled. Then my wish just came true. Your happiness is the fulfillment of my wish. Wika ni Ava. Then, she pulled him close and kissed him.